Hey everyone, John here, and today we're talking about 2 redemption arcs on Nintendo Switch 2, going from 30 FPS all the way to 60. Now let's begin with Overwatch. Now Overwatch was in a very strange state when it released on Switch 2, and to Blizzard's credit, they fixed it in around a day and a half, 2 days. But when it came out, it was stuck at 30 frames per second, and many people thought there was no difference between this and the Switch 1 version, because when you put them side by side, just looking at them, it doesn't seem all that different. Now, if you are to zoom in on things, specifically text, you will notice that there is a higher resolution in the Switch 2 version, but all in all, it's not a massive visual gulf. And even with the patch in place, that is still the case. This very much looks like a higher res version of that original Switch version, but now running at a locked 60 frames per second. They say up to 60 frames per second, which I guess is to save them for if there are frame drops, which may occur if things get crazy busy. But throughout this entire match, I noted a single frame drop to 59 FPS, and that was it. Otherwise, it was locked at 60 the entire time. Now, curiously, they disabled video capture to achieve this, which was active when the game was 30 FPS a few days ago. So I don't know why. They said the lack of 60 FPS was a bug, and so it's very strange to also see optimizations like turning off video capture to achieve that frame cap. I don't really know why that happened, and it seems like Overwatch does have a bunch of overhead because it is at 60 the vast majority of the time. So turning on video capture should be pretty realistic, and as should bumping the resolution up. I think Switch 2 can do a lot better than this. So even when we have games like Fortnite and Apex, Overwatch is still relatively at the short end of the stick of the live service games on Switch 2. But at the very least, this is a nice, viable way to play it. In terms of frame rate, nothing is compromised anymore, so those playing on Switch 2 will get a very similar experience to everyone else. But it is still strange that Joy-Con mouse support doesn't exist. You can hook up a USB keyboard and mouse if you want to, but you can't simply put your Joy-Con down and play it on your lap, on the sofa or whatever. That's still lacking from the Switch 2 version. So in my opinion, this is still a rather basic port, not a whole lot changed from the Switch 1 version, but it does run at 60 frames per second, so this is a viable way to play Overwatch on Switch 2. Now let's move on to Yooka Replay, and this was a game that I was really excited for prior to launch, but because it was 30 FPS on Switch 2, I decided to wait it out for a patch, and I'm glad I did, because now we have Yooka Replaylee running at 60 frames per second. Now to achieve this, they did have to tone the game down in areas. There's now a quality mode and a performance mode, and you'll notice there's a few differences between the two. A bunch of effects have been lost or turned off, the shadows aren't as sharp, the grass isn't as full. When comparing side by side, you probably are going to notice quite a few things. And the biggest thing in the midst of playing is the resolution. The resolution has gone down quite a bit to make this 60 frames per second. That being said, Yooka Replaylee doesn't feel particularly good at 30. It doesn't feel that responsive, the latency isn't great, and you can tell this kind of game is meant to be played at a much higher fidelity. So, I am happy to say that the vast majority of the time, Yooka Replaylee is running at 60 frames per second. That is the vast majority of the time though. There are definitely drops down to the mid-50s every now and then. But if you are playing in handheld mode, you're definitely going to get a much nicer experience because of that VRR window. Yooka Replaylee always sits within it, so when there are drop frames, you don't really perceive them. Whereas when playing on docked, you probably are going to notice a little bit of judder that isn't really there in handheld mode. Speaking of handheld mode, Yooka Replay looks very nice in handheld mode. Overwatch, on the other hand, I think could use a bit more work. It's definitely not at parity with that docked version. Basically, everything we reported about Overwatch last time is still largely true, just the frame rate is doubled and the video capture is off. Whereas Yooka Replay is just a universal improvement. Some may still opt to play in quality mode because you do get more effects and a higher resolution, but for a game like this, you really want to prioritize the higher frame rate. It just makes everything feel better. And Yooka Replay is an honest-to-goodness, fantastic game. They took a game that was rather flawed with the original and just reinstilled it with so much new confidence. a lot of new objectives. It feels much more like Mario Odyssey than it does the original Yooka-Laylee. And I think it can largely be viewed as a new game, just wearing the skin of a previous one. There's so many new things packed into here. New abilities, new progression methods, new areas of levels, new collectibles. There's so much new in here. And they really have made something that's just pretty special with Yooka Replay. So both games have good updates. Could they be even better? Probably. But at least in terms of frame rate, we are getting parity with other systems now. So Overwatch at 60, Yooka Replay at 60, lovely stuff to see. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you next time. Goodbye, everyone.
I am healed. Enemy turret down.
Monstering you. Come on, get up.
You saved me. I appreciate the boost. Hyper ring out.
Sustaining augmentation. Heightening your capabilities.
Good. Baby's under attack. Setting out the welcome mat. Enemy turret down.
Checking in. I am empowering you.
I feel powerful.
The dragon becomes me.
Round one.
I'm overloading.
The enemies are catching.
Score 1-0.
You're break bunch, but we'll get it done.
Over here. Supplying damage increase.
So much data this Eco Watch Point. I get the shivers just thinking about it.
Time to get my hands dirty.
Great.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Round
Maintaining
two.
damage.
Capture the objective.
Feeling more powerful?
Let's show these foes weapons.
The objective is now
Monstering you. Running down for
Yush! Enemy turret destroyed.
Killing pylon deployed. Positioning healing pylons.
enhancing your strength. Angel at your shoulder.
Enemy turret neutralized.
Healing pylon out.
Supplying damage increase.
Show you what I can do. Can regret facing it.
I'm here to help. Heightening your capabilities.
Enemy turret destroyed.
Checking in.